and at RItrain_EU to disseminate information. But through this corridor, we are also receiving requests from the outside world, so they can send tweets, and I will deliver them then to the speakers as questions. You might think, why are we organizing this workshop? And it's not only because 4.5 years ago, when we drafted the application for this call, we included an end-of-project workshop, but more importantly, I think, is to show you and help with us to find answers to the recommendations of different international and intergovernmental organizations towards long-term sustainability of research infrastructures. A lot of these reports, which have been published over the last 3-4 years, are mentioning training for scientific staff, engineers, but also for managers and administrative staff. And I'm quoting just 2 of those reports here. One is from the OECD, strengthening the effectiveness and sustainability of international research infrastructures. And one of the recommendations there was to have a robust staffing policy developed by the governing body and the management of research infrastructures. And staff policy is not only about hiring people, but it is also to train them, to keep them on track, to develop the necessary skills for all the different levels of managers and scientists and operators and administrative personnel in research infrastructures. But I'm also glad that Jan Husak, who just arrived, thank you very much and welcome, came, because he was one of the drivers for the other report I want to quote here, namely from the ESFRI Forum, the Long-Term Sustainability of Research Infrastructures report, because there they said that to ensure that research infrastructures have the right people in the right place at the right time, by strengthening and harmonizing national research and educational systems to make sure that all essential skills are available. And the recommendation is to establish guidelines for the qualification and evaluation for the recruitment and training of research infrastructure managers and operators. And I think it's that part where RItrain has contributed to and is currently continuously contributing to, and hopefully will do so also in the future. Now, a quick overview of the workshop. You have the outline of the agenda in your hands. I'm just presenting them here. So we start, and we are very glad that we have received green light from the European Commission by Dominik Sobczak to give us the first keynote starting this workshop. We will then tackle a little bit the round of those students, I'll call it, who have undergone the executive masters in management of research infrastructures, and they will showcase why it was important for them to participate and what did it mean for them for their jobs. And we have people who will chair those sessions and introduce then the people. The second round will focus then from the other side, from the employer's perspective. So we have identified 4 institutions who were willing to come and discuss about their training needs from their research infrastructure perspective, why training is important in there, and why they, for example, have sent people to the master's program. The structured networking event, Claire will introduce in more details in the break or just before that, so I don't need to mention it. Use the time to network with those people whom you want to talk to. I think that's also a great opportunity here in this place. And we will finish up in the evening by Jan Husak's keynote telling us why right people and skills at the right place at the right time are important for research infrastructures. Now tomorrow we will start at 8:30, starting with another keynote, and I'm very happy that we could convince Giorgio Rossi to come and present the EOSC relevance of training and management of research infrastructures. I'm very much looking forward to that part. Talking about training comes with the need to do some training, and we thought it's helpful to give you a small insight of how training in the master program, but also at other modules, are actually delivered. So we could convince the University of Milano Bicocca, under the guidance of Professor Marafiotti, to actually do some training with you, some hands-on training with you, and it will be about a workshop on innovation management. She's taking all the discussions from today and will transfer that into a real training session. It will be a short one, but into a real training session tomorrow morning. And finally, we also want to give credit to those people who are using another tool we have developed in RItrain, namely the exchange, staff exchange and knowledge workshop program. And we will discuss how staff exchange, visiting other research infrastructures, learning from peers, can actually influence and improve the situation of your own research infrastructure. That will be followed by a little lunch, and then we have a structured breakout sessions. You have seen the 3 questions out there: barriers and solutions to research infrastructure management training, recruiting and retaining personnel, and stakeholder engagement. And then we will try to sum up. We have a few people asked to report on the overall workshop. And I would like also at the very end to give a little bit of a view towards the future, because luckily the European Commission has introduced another call into the current work program, where again the theme of strengthening personnel, staff, managers and operators of research infrastructure is available, and I'm very happy to also discuss a little bit towards that direction. Now, these are the structured breakout activities. They will all be chaired. People have prepared some questions for you so that the discussion can start. But this is the point where we really were asking for you to put questions on the table. What are your current problems? What are your challenges in your research infrastructure? And when I say your research infrastructure, I have to stress that we have about 45 different RIs, between 45 and 50 RIs sitting here at that workshop. That is already quite a big chunk of the about 100 which are on the S3 roadmap. So about half are sitting here, and that is an important input also for us to consider what to do in the coming years. Just one slide on the RItrain project, the key figures. It was a 4-year project. We are coming towards the end. We were a group of 12 institutions, extremely motivated. I'm really, really happy to be able to bring all that to an end here with fantastic funding of the Commission of 2 million euros. The majority of people working in this team are female. This is, I think, quite unusual for many EU projects. We had so far 2 MBA rounds, one finished, the other one is currently running, and many of those people are actually sitting here in this audience, 25 in the first year, 21 plus 6 teams in the current running years. We have recorded more than 40 webinars which are on our YouTube available for download, for watching. And I think very important also, because we have the current MBA deadline open until the end of this month. If you still are not, if you have not yet considered, and hopefully you will change your opinion over the next 2 days, there is the opportunity also to apply for a seat in that MBA. Last picture. What have we done? We started with defining the skills of managers at different levels along the life cycle of research infrastructures. We checked if there are courses out there who can answer, who can bring knowledge to the requested skills, and we saw that very little was actually available in terms of for managers of research infrastructures. We have developed the necessary curriculum, we have tested and implemented it, and we are currently also doing a lot of other continuous professional development, staff exchanges, etc. That was, and you see here also the very nice group of institutions which have participated. I'm sorry. I got a cold over the weekend and still recovering. The group of the 12 institutions participating in the RItrain project. I have mentioned the MBA program, and that definitely is one of the highlights, if not the highlight of the program. As I said, we have now about 50 people who have or are undergoing that MBA, and hopefully that continues over the next years so that there is no research infrastructure in Europe or even beyond who would not have the possibility to train their staff, their managers, how to run a research infrastructure. And with that, I come to my very last slide. I'm very grateful to my co-coordinators, Maria Luisa Lavitrano from University Milano Bicocca and Cass Brooksbank from EMBL EBI. Without them, that would not have been possible. I'm thankful to all the staff which helped getting the program on board, and a special thank to Cass Johnson, who has organized that meeting really fantastically. Thank you very much for that. And I would hand over to Maria Luisa to introduce our first keynote speaker. Thank you.